any of you in here have given birth, you know how powerful that is. It completely changes you, and in many ways, the old you must die, and the mother in you must be reborn with that child. And so we are given this wonderful opportunity to become conscious individuals, and that resonates throughout their whole lives, because now we're making decisions through the whole thing that empowers us, and then we reflect that to our children, and we say, look, maybe this isn't the conventional thing to do. Maybe this is against doctor's advice or mother's advice or whatever. But it shows them, you know what, you have that power as well. You can make your own choices in life, and you can decide, and you can fall down and pick yourself back up. It doesn't have to be right for me. So very much like you're saying, you know, what's right for us isn't going to be right for our children, always. All we can do is reflect what we are doing and hand them that power to make these choices. And that in itself is conscious. It's consciousness. We go around and say, okay, what do I think? What do I think about this? Instead of trying to fall in line with what everybody has always done or what is expected of us, which is, it's the most common thing. Most of the people who hire us are second or third time parents. The first time that they go through their pregnancy and birth, they just trust. They assume that they are going to be completely informed. They assume that they are going to be told all of their options, and then they have a birth that maybe was a complete disaster. Actually, often that's the case. And so the second time she gets pregnant, they're like, oh, maybe we should do a little bit more research. Maybe we should actually take this a little bit more seriously. It's very hard. We have a mental connection to anybody in a lab coat, right? When we watch commercials on TV, they put on a lab coat because you are psychologically trained to believe that person knows more than I do. That is an expert. I'm going to trust what they say. And so when we go through the birthing process, we very much do the same thing. We trust them. Why wouldn't they tell me everything? But they don't. They have their own system that they push people through. And the mother's well-being isn't necessarily the focal point of that. And so when we are able to work with these people, especially when it is a second or third time or beyond even, it's amazing to watch the contrast of the first time when she was completely unconscious and gave birth and gave her power away. She went in there almost like a piece of meat to allow anything to happen to her because of that blind trust. And now, this time, she's able to step into that power and say yes or no. Now, a lot of people think that doulas are just about natural birth. It's not what it's about. For me, it's about leaving the experience feeling heard, respected, and informed. It doesn't matter, the rest is details. She could have every intervention in the book, but as long as she felt like she was a part of that process and was in a conscious participant, she's going to leave feeling empowered. And when women feel empowered, they raise empowered children.
Thank you, Julia. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jasmine, and I'm an educationist by profession. I am running my preschool in India and also setting up an international school for girls. It's a very lovely topic that I picked up today, conscious parenting. I'm myself a parent of a 3-year-old toddler, and there has been so much of a learning which I have learned, while my child was born, not even born, she's a storyteller, so the learning starts happening once you conceive as a mother. Conscious parenting is not a set of protocols. There is no A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4 guidelines, which you as a parent can follow to be a conscious parent. Rather, it's the set of belief, to develop your child in the right fashion. If I go by the traditional approach, for example, if you want to ask your toddler to clear up all the clutter which he has done of the toys, if you want your toddler to clutter everything and declutter everything and stack it back nicely in his toy bag, what would the toddler do? Do you think he's ugly? Of course not, right? Okay. So what will you do? As a traditional approach, the mother will start to dominate. She'll say, I've asked you to do this. Why are you not clearing your toys? Pick up your toys and please keep it back in your bag. The child will not do it. The mother might not even smack the child, which is really bad. So that's a traditional approach. And what happens as a result? The child will listen to what the mother has said. But at the same time, that bonding between the mother and the child, you will lose the essence of it somewhere. And also, which is the most dangerous thing, which does not have a damage control, is the building upon of the fear. The child will start to fear from his mother. And next time, if I'll not do what my mother is asking me to do, she might smack me. Because you're in a position of a very dominant nature. Okay? That's the traditional approach. But as a conscious parent, instead what you should do, you might just go down to the child's eye level. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. You might just go to the child's eye level, okay, and say, hi. Okay, you are Nicole, okay, you're pretending that you're my child. Nicole, can you please clear your toys? You have created so much of a mess. Why don't you pick up your toys and make it very nice and clean living room for all of us? What do you think the child would do now?
Smile and maybe do it.
Definitely not do it again, because it's a child. Okay. So, in that situation, have you ever tried to understand a child's psychology? That why does the child say no? Why doesn't the child agree to what you're asking to do as a parent? Reason is either the child is seeking attention, it's a attention-seeking activity, or it could be power struggle. These could be the only two possible things. So if it is a attention-seeking activity, you must have a one-to-one with your child. Have that one-to-one time. But if it's a power struggle, so you might ask your child, Nicole, sorry, I'm giving you again. So you might, continue. So you might say, Nicole, if you do not clear your toys, Mama is going to clear your toys and stack it in the attic. But you will not be allowed to play with your toys for the next 2 days.
Can I just
Sure,
add
please.
something? How about saying, Nicole, honey, can we do this together?
Yes.
And that would
Thank you so much for having. Please have a round of applause for the Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. So here, why I'm quoting this example, because it's related to the power struggle. So you have to do a lot of reasoning with your child. Trust me, any child does not want to be treated like a child. They think that we are adults. They think that we are grown-ups. We always used to do a pretend play, right? You're born adults, right? Child is the father of man. It's an age, right? Okay. So if you say that, okay, Nicole, so Mama is going to help you out in clearing the toys, like Mama has suggested that, okay, we clear the toys together. Still, there is a possibility child will accompany you in helping you out or may not accompany you. And you put it back in the attic. So next day when the child is asking you that, can I have those toys back? So you have to tell him, sorry, we have made this arrangement that you will not be allowed to play with your toys for the next 2 days. So next time, when you ask your child to do something, he knows it. That my mama did something like this last time, right? So this is conscious parenting. Why I quoted this example is that you really need to go to the child's level, understand everything from a child's psychology perspective, and it's a cakewalk, right? Okay, there has been a lot of research done. I would like to quote an example. I was watching a documentary on eagles sometime back on Nat Geo. So there is this famous American naturalist, and he covered birth of an eagle. He observed it for 13 weeks. Eagles have a very peculiar way of raising their child, though it's more or less similar than rest of the birds do. It's about creating their nest with the twigs and the leaves and lay eggs and that. But he observed for 13 weeks. So there was a baby eaglet which was born, and on daily basis the mother eagle will go to the fields and she'll fetch some food to feed the baby eagle. And eagles, for obvious nature, they have larger appetite as a bird. And gradually, how the baby eagle started to grow, his appetite also started to increase. But the mother eagle, she only fed him only that portion of the food. Okay? One fine day, when the baby eagle, started to, when the mother eagle started to feel that the fat portion in the baby eagle's body is depleted. So baby eagle started to feed himself on the leftover carcass which was left in the nest from the earlier food. So one day baby eagle fetched a very nice lively meat of rabbit, and she dangled it on one of the branches on the top of the nest, so that the baby eagle can try to climb. Right? So this practice kept on happening. So one day baby eagle started to actually jump and fetch the food. Next day the branch went higher and higher and higher. So one day baby eaglet, he started to actually climb, and while climbing and trying to fetch that food, he actually fell down. And the moment he went out of the nest was falling down. So as a rescue, his wings went out. So what did we learn from this? It's about change. It's about developing your child. Till the time the baby eaglet did not feel that it has wings to fly as a savior, he could not even know that I can actually fly and I can go and fetch my food myself. So it's about fostering change. You have to give right direction to your child as a conscious parent. Give them a platform. Help them out where their efforts needs to be channelized in the right direction. You need to understand your child very well. Right? So that's all what I have to say for today. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Rajita, and I'm here to just share my views because I'm also a parent. I'm also a parent. I have 2 boys. One is 7 and one is 12. And I'm coming from an entirely different space here. Due to some life conditions, I was not able to be with my older one for about 4 years. And I worked on, and I was also not actually very ready to be a mother at that time. What I have learned along the journey, and it's not only, of course, it's my learning, but I have also kind of consulted experts to understand things better as to about children, about boys. And one thing that is actually all the time coming to surface is unconditional acceptance and love is something that every child, whatever, even if the child is a drug addict, even if the child is a failure in our eyes, whatever, the only thing that is working is unconditional acceptance and love for children. And that is something that we fail to understand at most times, I've seen. Because we have set such high expectations, and especially in the Indian culture, mostly people from India would understand. There was a recent survey done, and India, unfortunately, India was the last country to believe, the parents to believe that we want happy children. We were the first one to believe that we want successful children. So we actually are great in producing unhappy but successful children. This amazed me and it set me thinking, what are we doing? And especially when I tried to, in my own life, when I tried to apply, this consciousness to parenting my boys, I have seen the kind of difference it has made in our relationships. Especially with the older, and just to be there, just to listen to him, just to hug him, just let him do his own mistakes and not keep on correcting him and challenging him and asking him, why should you do that way? Why didn't you just do that? And how can you be so, messy or stuff like that? And the other thing what has translated is, I have met so many adults, including myself, where we all today have the child in us, which is yearning for love and acceptance. Even as adults, we have this child in us. And something that I would like to actually, for you to think about, because I don't think I can advise you, there are so many senior and more experienced people sitting here, is that when we look at our own child, what we want, even as adults, grown adults,